right, let's cut across to Parliament, where Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is speaking at the moment. Take a look.
So I'll try to keep it crisp on some of these points. Sir, I started there, and I would like to start here as well to say that Indian economy, compared to the situation prevailing in many of our peer groups and compared to the situation in many of the developed economies, is definitely much better. But that does not mean that we are running away from saying, because, like some of the members have said, imported inflation, and because of the imported supply chain related problems and global commodity prices, we are being impacted. These are realities, and we are here to answer and discuss on them. Nobody is saying, or nobody is in a denial about price rise. I mean, even Professor Ram Gopal Verma spoke, and he's not here now. But, Ram Gopal Yadav ji, sorry, thank you for correcting me. He said, no, daratal mein jaakar dekhiye, numbers nahi. Numbers bhi देखेंगे, दरातल में क्या हो रही है वो भी देखेंगे. हम भाग नहीं रहे. और ये भी सच्चाई है कि नंबर्स के मुताबिक भी हमारे इन्फ्लेशन रेट का एक बैंड रहता है. 4 is the median point, -2 or +2 is what is normally accommodated. And we are at 7 with some effort. Or it can be slightly more than 7, but we have made sure that the Reserve Bank and the government put together are taking enough steps to make sure that it is kept at 7 or below, ideally below 6, the band. So nobody is denying. And therefore, when we say, look at the world where some countries are experiencing inflation which they have not seen in 40 years, 35 years, 27 years, it doesn't mean that we are saying there's no inflation in this country. So, it becomes very, very haranguing. That's not to say about you. If the debate constantly is only attributing things which we have not even said. So let's please, both on data and on Daratal, thank you very much, Professor Ram Gopal Yadav, constant interaction with people who are affected is giving us inputs, and based on which we are having a targeted approach from the pandemic until today when the recovery is going on. And through the targeted approach, we are reaching sections which so desperately need that help. Of course, yes, you can do a lot more. Nobody's denying that. But that doesn't mean we are saying, no, we won't do anything at all. And also this very impressive narrative which can go on, oh, you've collected so much from the fuel excise duty and the cesses, and you're sitting with it, and the poor person is not being given any help. I'm sorry. I will list out, and I will definitely list out what for the poor person even today we are doing, and we love to do more. That's not to say, oh, you gave 50 people, you don't want to give the 51st. No, we will give. But to think and attribute to us that you're not doing anything for the poor, I'm sorry. And approach that, you have never done anything for the poor, you're always for Adanis and Ambanis. I'm sorry, I'm compelled to take the names here. Is absolutely politicizing a debate which is so necessary for the country. So necessary for the country because all of us together, some of us in our states, some of us as members of parliament in our respective constituencies, are working to make sure that the poor's voice is heard. We are trying to reach out. Some of the schemes which don't go down to the ground, we are making sure that is given to them. Each one of us are contributing in this recovery process. And this recovery process is not purely on economic recovery, also because of the pandemic. And I'm glad the health minister is also here about the efforts taken for vaccination, which is so critical for the economy as well. Every member has been keen to know about it, and we've been constantly giving data to prove that everybody is in it so that the economic recovery can happen. So I appeal to the August House that we speak both on facts and on the daratal. It's not as if we are only throwing data at people. In fact, most of the times we are accused of giving data which is not right. So I'm definitely emphasizing that comparing with many of our peer group nations, emerging economies, or even looking at some of the advanced economies, India's position. Let's be somewhat comforted by the fact that our macroeconomic fundamentals are strong. It's all very well for us to be told, no, you should do some more here, some more there. But if you're denying that the macroeconomic fundamentals are not strong, I'm sorry, you're not going to be taken seriously. Not by me. I will take you seriously. You're a member of parliament. I'll honor you. But let's talk on what's actual and not what is generated, I don't know by who. So with that, I just want to highlight one of the points which is important, because we have a temptation to compare, and that's not wrong. Please do compare with our neighbors, with economies which we thought are better than us. Probably they were, and you wanted to tell us that they are better and why are we not. All that is fine. But please don't forget that today, the very same economies which were quoted to us, saying they are doing much better, India is not, because their policies are a lot more friendly for industry. I'm sorry. I'm not reveling in countries which are suffering today. I honestly do want every one of our neighbors, some of whose name I'll take here, to be better off, to be able to perform well. But today's situation, the reality is that some of these countries which have been quoted to us earlier, for one index or the other index, they are better than us, you're not. Look at the reality, please, honorable members. Bangladesh, about which we are periodically quoted. And we have great friendly relations with Bangladesh, and I'm happy for it. And there was a time when we were quoted repeatedly saying Bangladesh is doing well, you're not. But even on a parliament question reply on 1st August yesterday, I have given the data of what is the comparison which has got to be there. I just want to read it out. The per capita GDP at PPP in 2013 of Bangladesh was 3,143 international dollar, as they say it, but it is US dollar. But the same 2013 India per capita GDP PPP was 5057. 3143 versus 5057. And in 2021, sir, when we are repeatedly reminded saying, Bangladesh is doing it, even if they do well, very well. But I want to give you the number. In 2021, Bangladesh per capita GDP at PPP is 6613, whereas ours is 7334. So please do quote, but quote with facts. And the same Bangladesh today, and again I'm underlining this point, I'm not quoting miseries here, but because repeatedly we have been told, oh, you're next Sri Lanka. Oh, you're not anywhere near Bangladesh. But please, let's understand the whole story everywhere. Bangladesh today is seeking from IMF 4.5 billion because they have balance of payment problems. And when I say when our macroeconomic fundamentals are strong, please, let's recognize that our macroeconomic fundamentals are strong. Sri Lanka, of course, is asking for 3.5 billion to the IMF. Pakistan in total is asking in different stages for 7 billion from the IMF. There are times when we have also been told, oh, in India, the petrol price per liter is this, but look at our neighbor, Pakistan, look at our neighbor, Sri Lanka. That's the rate. They are far lower than you. Let's consider it in a holistic way rather than piecemeal saying, you are this, we are that, they are there. No. Today's economic distress throughout the world being what it is, let's look at it holistically rather than just throwing one astra here so that, good, I've done my job. No, please. This is a very serious business. And all of us are honestly members of this House who will have to look at very seriously what kind of things can be done so further we are able to improve the lot of our people. Now I go to specific points raised by honourable members because I would like to answer them. I'm not going to get into greater details of other things which govern the macroeconomic situation. The first speaker, Elamaram Karimji, had raised few things which I think were not based on facts. I would want to correct them. He spoke about bank checks. I would like to say there is no GST on withdrawal of cash from bank. There's no GST, please. And today on very many things I will say there is no this, no that. On the GST, sir, because the more I listen, I'm worried that I'm coming, one after the other. More I listen to issues related to GST, I have a concern that probably information is not reaching, the right information is not reaching, and as a result, there's quite a lot of misconception. And I would today attempt to clear some of these misconceptions. So that was, first of all, no GST on withdrawal. Banks don't print their checkbooks, they buy it and from the printers, and the printers, after all, for the paper, after all, for the machine, after all, for many other things that they have, and the services that they are paying GST for those inputs with which they manufacture the checkbook and supply to the banks. So for them, there is a tax GST because they already are paying input tax for many of these items. So the stream till the consumer, because it's a consumption-based tax, will have to keep settling tax dues at every level. So that is what is before you, Honourable Member Karim. So I want you to kindly take into cognizance that as regards the consumer or the bank client who takes the money, withdraws the money, there is no charge on him. It is a bank which purchases from the printer for whom there is a GST. Otherwise, the bank will end up having to the printer will end up with, at a lesser cost he gives the banks, and the input tax credits will get accumulated. And I elaborate on the fact that the bank, when you go withdraw cash, 5 free transactions from your own bank's ATM and 5 from an ATM of a different bank you can draw without any charge. They are free transactions, so 10 in total. And in 3 banks, I think transactions are limited to 3 and not 5 because in 6 metro cities there are difficulties, and instead of 5 they give for 3. However, for small, no frills, basic saving bank deposit accounts, which are what the common small and middle class families use, they are still permitted 5 free transactions even in metro cities. So
And that was Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman replying on price rise issue in Parliament, and the takeaways that she said that we are not running away from a discussion, and she said that all those countries that were cited as examples for India are now seeking funds from the IMF